Hey guys, welcome back to What the Phuc.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
I think you guys are, I don't know, listening to our show for a very specific reason. I don't know what the reason is. What do you think the reason is, Roberto?
Because we're amazing and people want to hang out with us.
Okay, so I guess the show, for those who haven't joined us ever, is a show about two guys just hanging out on a Friday on September 16th, 2022. Just randomly talking about their lives and in particular the startups they're running. I'm running a company called Phuc Labs, and Roberto's helping me run something called Masterioty. And we're basically trying to share our secrets of how to live a exciting life where we try to go for startups and living a unique life where we do amazing things and hopefully helping humanity. And so I think last time we spoke about, I think you wanted to continue talking about something called the Law of One.
Yeah, because we kept talking about it like a little bit, like for the aliens and everything that was showing up, but I don't think we ever actually dove into it.
Okay, so let me show you basically the other half of the show. So half the show we talk about serious stuff. We talk about basically a reality show about our lives and what's been
and how
going
everything's
on.
going. Yeah.
So let me actually start with that quickly, a quick update, and I'll go deep
for sure.
because I want to talk longer about the woo-woo stuff today. Okay, I call it the woo-woo
Let's
stuff.
do it. It's fine.
So in terms of serious stuff, Phuc Labs is actually about to go live with our Republic campaign. So as some of you know, we have a campaign on Republic.com. Republic.com is a website where you can basically crowdsource fundraising for your company. So we want to raise $1 million for our company to basically take it to the next level. And we have been going through this process of getting approval. And finally, we are about to get the financial approval. We have to go through this Form C audit.
Okay.
And that audit is finally done, hopefully in
What
the
is it,
next
though?
week. And we can actually officially go live. But we have a test page right now that we already raised $35,000 or so.
I'll link it.
That's just a test page where people can just say, hey, when it opens, I'm there and I'm going to commit this. They actually haven't committed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But once we go live, we can actually get basically the month that we collect that money. Let's say we get a minimum of, say, $100,000. We raise $200,000 the first month. We can take the $200,000 and use it for our business and so on and so forth.
That's awesome.
And we can do up to $5 million per year. And so the idea is to basically see if we can use Republic as a new way to raise money for our business. Because I'm actually economics. I'm an economics major in college. And basically the idea is investment is only necessary if you don't have the money. So basically the whole financial structure, it's set up so that you have people who have lots of ideas, like me, entrepreneurs, and these entrepreneurs don't have the resources they need to basically run their business. So basically you have other people who have lots of money. Maybe they inherited it or they made it somehow when they were younger or somehow, they found money, in their lives somehow, right? And they don't know what to do with it, but they want to make more of it and make the money work for them. That's the saying. Make the money work for them, not work for your money, but the money should work for you. So let's give it to someone who can use that money, and then you get interest back. Okay. So the whole process of that there's a middleman, and that middleman is usually some type of bank before, and now we have venture capitalists and angel investors. So individuals or companies basically investing in you, right? But these individuals before, you would have to have a certain amount of money. You have to have what's called high net worth. So high net worth means you have to have a couple $1 million and be able to understand what you're getting yourself into because there's a lot of scams out there.
So before they offer you money, you have to have money.
Yeah, so that's the whole point. So in the United States, it's illegal for me before the laws changed about 5 years ago, or give or take. I'm not sure exactly the timing, but you couldn't take any money from a regular person. Whereas now you can put $150 minimum on Republic.com and get a share of our company, of Phuc Labs, or any company that is on that platform. So you imagine before, have you heard of the NASDAQ? You know how the New York Stock Exchange is the NASDAQ? So originally there was only the New York Stock Exchange. That's actually a marketplace that was a monopoly, essentially.
It's crazy.
They had a Chicago one and they had a New York one. But the New York one was the one that, basically everyone kind of used. And then the NASDAQ was a competitor. NASDAQ is a new marketplace just for tech companies. Companies that are specifically in this industry, right? And that's why the NASDAQ is a different exchange. Okay. I know this because I actually ran a company called UpDown, and we ran a social network for finance.
Yeah,
and I coded the back end where you can actually invest in a fantasy investment game where you can buy and sell stocks.
Yeah.
So we actually got the real data feed, live data feed from the NASDAQ, live data feed from the New York Stock Exchange, and then I had to delay it by 15 minutes or 20 minutes depending on the exchange so I can follow the regulatory. But that was a raw data set that we got from those exchanges, right?
I used to have that at school. Anyway, that's funny. Like, but it costs money, right? Like you can't just have it.
It costs money to get. Actually, it doesn't. Like, so it costs money to be part of the exchange and all that stuff. But actually, when brokers make transactions, so for example, you want to buy sell stocks and you call E-Trade or Robinhood or one of those apps out there, or like, a big company like Morgan Stanley, those transactions are essentially free when you exchange stocks. It's basically it's electronic. It's like it's updating Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't cost anything really, right?
Yeah.
And so you can charge basically a fee for doing that and maintaining some of the transaction that goes around that. But essentially, there's very low cost, if any cost, to a stock trade at all. Most of that is just captured by the person who sold you that trade. It's just exchange of IDs. Like this ID goes there, but it's all electronics right now. So it's not even involved at all.
Because I remember like in college, one of my friends, one of my friends was in finance major or something like that, and they had all these screens like set up on their floor at university. And he was telling me like you don't just have access to that. Like at the university, he used to pay to have like everything in real time going on.
Yeah, you can pay, you have to pay for the data. So the exchanges, they charge you a lot of the money they make is from the data. So if you want to get like a live feed, you have to pay, right? Just the real time quotes, all that stuff you have to pay per user. So the way they really make money is on the information consuming, not the transactions. They actually want. So there's actually something called algorithmic trading. Algorithmic trading is when a computer does lots of trades, like a few cents here, to basically even out the marketplace because they see some type of unevenness and they can arbitrage it. So for example, the price here is $1 and the price here is 90 cents, but it's the same thing. So let's go ahead and buy this for 90 cents and sell this for $1, and eventually it evens out. So there's actually systems out there that automate that too. There's also like algorithms that stop you from losing money. So you might have like, okay, when the price goes down this low, I want you to start selling everything. Okay. Or when it gets down this low, I want to start buying everything. So there's also these triggers for people who set up these limits, order limits, to buy or sell things. So that's the whole middleman, right? So the middleman, it's a casino. You have
Pretty
to realize
much,
it's a casino. You go in this casino. I wrote the casino, so I know.
Yeah.
It's a casino where not the original casino, but a simulation of the casino, right? So just be sure. So, but people would try to cheat the casino, but it's just a game. 99% of the people don't win, right? The only winners are the casino itself, the NASDAQ or the financial brokerages who manage your money. Because everyone, all they're doing is just running around circles doing nothing. It's called zero-sum game. So zero-sum games means I'm not adding anything to the pie. I'm not making any more products. I'm not adding a service that actually people are using. I'm not doing anything to reality. I'm just buying and selling a share of a company. I'm at a casino taking your dollar and putting it into someone else's dollar, into someone else's bank. And literally, that's the entire financial industry is taking a dollar from here and moving it to over there. So this dollar is from someone who has a lot of money and they don't know what to do with it. Let's move it over there to someone who does have an idea and they can do something with that money. So once you have money, though, people still continue to do that trap. So, for example, you might have $1 billion.
Okay.
And then you borrow money to, start a company. It never made sense to me. Because if you have $1 billion, why don't you start a company with your own money? Because you have a good idea and you have someone who has money, that's you, right? So bet on yourself. And I see all these rich folks betting on like stock market or betting on houses or betting on other stuff. They should bet on themselves. And I think I learned that the hard way, that you should bet on yourself first. And if you have good ideas and you're young and you have potential things that will change the world, then bet on yourself. So that's the mistake I made. I'd say, hey, let's bet on Tesla. Let's bet on these stocks. Let's bet on other people. And then you lose control over your optionality in your own life. You're giving money to other people to follow their dreams. So it's up to you. If you're an entrepreneur, then keep the money. If you're not an entrepreneur, then give the money to someone who can use it better, like Elon Musk or me, like on Republic.com, and then we'll take that money and we'll make 100 times the money. And they get a piece of it by doing nothing except giving us money. But it actually is very valuable to us because we need that money in order to survive,
exactly.
Right? So
like
it's
you're good at something else, you know? Like people are good at something else, so they make their money there, and then they're like, okay, what do I do with this now? I have this left over. You need it? Here you go. So it is a great thing because especially like what we were talking about, like all these venture capitalists, they don't have the same vision of the future that probably like us, like random regular people do. And if they can't make it,
let me talk a little bit politics here, okay?
Yeah.
So random regular people don't know anything about stocks. They don't know anything about assets.
By
they
design,
don't know anything
though.
about owning anything that actually increases in value over time.
Yep.
I see a lot of politicians talk about how they're going to get a handout from something, a government subsidy, some type of program. I'm all for that within reason. But you have to balance that with financial education.
Yeah, no,
Financial
definitely.
education is it's educating your constituency that this is how you raise yourselves up. Instead of having voters that are poor, you want your voters to be rich. So say you should buy more houses. You should pool your money together and start businesses. We should have organized advisory councils to help entrepreneurs do better. We should figure out a way where you can actually be enabled to make more money using the process that rich folks currently use. Let's copy success instead of trying to deride it. Let's copy it because there's a reason those folks are successful. They're not trying to cheat. They're taking money from A that they don't know how to use and they're putting it to B, and B is making a ton of value.
But they're
Whereas you're
cheat,
sitting
though.
on your butt doing nothing and complaining how A goes to B, makes so much money, and they're rich for some reason. Well, because they actually got off their butt and did something.
But it's. I mean, like I feel it's a bit more complicated than that. Like
No, it's not,
remember what
because
happened.
I'm the entrepreneur on the ground doing it.
Yeah, but remember what happened with.
A lot of people have a lot of ideas. I'm telling you, everyone has an idea at a bar. You go to a bar, you go to a reunion, you go to some event. You're like, oh, I want to start a company. I want to do this. But you know how many people get off their ass and do anything at all?
But look at GameStop. The GameStop example was a great one. As soon as regular people,
casino, and there was a lot of action at the table. That's it.
As soon as people, like regular people, understood how the game was being played, they started regulating the shit out of it. Remember Robin Hood? You couldn't buy it. Robin Hood blocked a bunch of people from buying GameStop.
But the problem with all those games is that table's hot for a while, and the table's not hot anymore, and you're gonna find that next hot table, and you're gonna find that next hot table.
But who decides what's hot when is the issue, though.
And you go in a circle forever, making no value. You're playing this zero-sum game at a casino as a gambaholic.
But people made money off of that. And as soon as other people got into the game, they were like, okay, let's regulate it.
That's gambling, okay?
It's gambling.
Short-term trading. I run up, down, I know. Short-term traders are just gamaholics who go to a different casino that's legal. They rationalize how it's investment, but it's not. Here's what investment is, okay? You see my hand right here? Okay, my hand is showing like a line. A line is how stocks go up and down, right?
Yep.
When you do day trading, imagine you have a point on the line, and you're doing this. See where my finger's tapping on that line? It's the same day, same week, same whatever month. It's a short time period. And when you buy and sell like this, all you're doing is within that dot, you're just moving within that dot or that area of the curve, right? Investing is when you buy here, and then 3 years later, you sell here.
Yeah.
That's investing. That's proper investing where you put money into Tesla or Phuc
and you make
something,
money.
And you don't sell it for 4 or 5 years. Now, when you go to a casino, you're going to put money on blackjack and come back 3 years later or not? No, who would do that? That's crazy. That's gambling. That's stock market. You put money today and you hope to see a return within a short period that is within your cycle of attendance that you care about, that you focus on. I'm focused on putting money in a buy and then selling it within a reasonable time frame that I can remember. But that's not investing, dude. That's gambling. That's the definition of gambling. I go put money at a poker table or blackjack table or pai gow, and in that setting, I get the money or I lose the money.
Yeah, no, I get that. But I mean, like the way the game was set up doesn't like remove this like gambling effect. Is because you know what the outcome is going to be.
You go into anything good, it gets corrupted. You go into some nice park, and then somehow there's someone selling hot dogs in a Winnebago or something like that, and destroying nature. You might call it destroying nature, but they call it running a business. And then they have other people come there. So what happens is, right, there's a good party, but then there's some people there using drugs and ODing. Okay, there's a good system to put money in A, and come back 3 years later, and hopefully A goes up. But people have gone and corrupted it into a sale for an investment product, many of which are short-term gambling schemes, where they explain it in such a way, like Robinhood, buy, sell, short, blah, 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 options, all that stuff. Here's some advice. Kramer, blah, blah, blah. Kramer says this. So all these advisors on TV and all those stuff.
Kramer's a douche, though.
They're selling you the horse race. This horse is going to be this horse for this reason, or the dog race when they had dog racing. But it's all a form of entertainment, a form of making sure that you make money, explaining something in a fancy way, in a fancy suit, in a fancy setting, to get money from the richest people you know, because all it is, it's a casino where you have to feel really important. You feel like you're doing important things. When I invest in Tesla, I'm helping the future. When I do this, I'm supporting this. That's not what's happening, my man. That's not what's happening at all. You go in a casino giving money to the transaction, giving to the person who sold you stuff. Basically, it's a casino. You just have to face up to that fact. And if you don't face it up to that fact, you can go and you can live a lie. And you can live a lie the entire time that you're doing your job or whatever you're doing, but you just have to face the truth. There's money from A to B. Investment is long-term. Short-term is gambling. Period. No arguments. Now, in this show, we tell you how to gamble. The proper way to gamble is on yourself. Short-term, gamble on yourself. Long-term, gamble on yourself. But with your money, gamble long-term only. Okay? So, like, for yourself, you can go and have 2 jobs. You can try to hustle a side gig. You can try to, do a startup. You can go and write a book, and hopefully you become like J.K. Rowling. But the idea is those risks take time, not money. Yeah. That's what most people make excuses about. They say, hey, I need money to start my company. I need money to do this. You're right. Once you get above a certain level. But to get off your ass and do something where someone can believe in you, to go in Republic, for example, and spend months getting ready for it, presenting in a nice video and showing you how to do this on a podcast, all this stuff, all this work takes time.
That's a vetting process, though, no?
You should be investing in the most in terms of yourself. Short term, yourself, improving yourself and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
It does. So, is the Republic process like long and complicated,
just like
so that you get a better product?
Process, although it's been longer for us because we had, we just had to get some stuff in order, and then finally the audit approved us. I think this week, tentatively, cross our fingers. We'll be live very soon, and then we have a bunch of people we want to email, get this going, get some momentum, and then we also have some investors that are coming next week. Some big investors, actually, some huge ones. That on Wednesday I have basically a big demo. If this if this investor says yes, it'll be millions of dollars, and they're very well known. I don't want to jinx ourselves, but let me give you an update on how the company's doing. So, the company started in 2020.
Yep.
We're actually almost 2 years into it, but now I can say with a fact that the software is done.
Nice.
Busted my ass last couple of months, and I wrote the whole thing, and I'm done. And we've been testing it with great success. It's working for sure, 100%. So the demo next week is going to be a killer. We're gonna crush it for sure. I also added something really, really amazing. Okay, so I kind of want we're gonna kind of step into woo woo.
Let's do it.
And then really understand the law of one. Okay. And I'm gonna explain it in a way with a computer vision, with an AI slant, with a math slant, with a slant that you can understand. Okay?
What's
so
a
the
slant?
Law of One is a channeled alien religion that supposedly came from Venus. A collective intelligence in Venus talked to some woman in 1980 something.
Okay.
Her husband basically was, writing it down, working with her. They're basically woo-woo people who basically spoke with aliens. Okay. These aliens explained to them the law of one. It's been in circulation for X number of years.
Oh, 40.
But this is a pattern that I've noticed. Okay. So here, listen to me in the logic.
Mm-hmm.
I am like Spock. Okay. I'm not a channeling kind of idea person, but actually I think it's true. Here's the way I would do it if I was a captain of the Starship Enterprise, or some type of starship in Star Trek that's trying to basically manage a planet that doesn't know about aliens yet. What I would do is I would connect with a few of the top people. I would connect with some ambassadors that can represent me and say, hey guys, here's some information for you to slowly review the data that needs to be reviewed so that people can actually simulate the coming aliens, right, in a way that they won't be shocked.
Okay.
So the way you do that is you do through TV shows, you do through so maybe some type of artist, right? Some type of artist.
Mm-hmm.
So those artists would be Gene Roddenberry, maybe through Star Trek, all these concepts.
Yeah,
or
like Star Wars. Yeah.
Or concepts through movies, like and sometimes you also do it through YouTube. Okay, so you in today's world, the internet
Mm-hmm.
is a great channeling of transmission from A to B. So I've been finding online. So this is the way I would do like a detective kind of like thing. So let's say you have the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to Rory Sutherland and neuromarketing and the whole concept of the truth and the Normandy effect. So conceptually, the truth can be seen from many different perspectives, many different angles. So you can have a perspective from YouTube, a perspective from TV shows, a perspective from my own personal experience. Okay, you can have a perspective from many other people who are witnesses. You can have many perspectives, and they have to consistently say the same thing. And then you basically group them into what's called Bayesian logic.
Okay.
The Bayesian logic says, okay,
Mm-hmm.
if this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and this is true, and 5 or 8 other things that are unrelated are all true, the chances that all those things are true and the thing being false is like 0% at that point. Because basically you're saying with 99.999% effectiveness that this is the truth. And this is what I found to be the truth based on my own research, okay? I'll tell you the research. You can do the research on your own, but I'm going to back it up with research, okay? So consistently,
Mm-hmm.
there's always been some type of message that there are basically 2 types of thought about how humans or society or reality can exist. One is that consciousness, that basically us, the soul, comes out of nowhere. It is emergent. It comes out of reality. So it's called the materialistic world. So the materialistic world means there's laws of physics, and the laws of physics control everything. And at some point, we emerge out of it. Okay? Now, that's basically the materialistic, the default, that's a science-based worldview, right? Now, that does not have the observer. The observer means that there's something outside. I'm observing the system. There's no concept of the observer, okay? In a materialistic world, because the observer doesn't exist, it just is, and then it becomes, and then maybe observer comes later. So consciousness is the observer. The conscious being is the observer. The observer comes later. The materials create the observer, okay? Now, the other side of it, you can think about philosophically, is there was an observer, there was God, or an alien, wherever it is.
Like the watcher.
And that observer created something in a petri dish, or in the Big Bang, or somehow created the world, and inside the world are other observers. Okay?
Like
so
inside the system
is
he
the
created?
Main observer is God, is the one. Now, the number one is actually not really a number conceptually, because what is one? No one really knows what one is.
Like the
so
unity.
one says to itself, let me look at one and look at myself. So when one looked at one became two. Okay? So the idea is the observer comes out of you existing, and the observer then putting a mirror on itself.
Okay.
So that's two. Okay. So the first dimension is just you. Just being, the source, the creator, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And then two is the reflection of the creator trying to look and gaze upon itself. Okay? Now, when you gaze upon yourself, you have a line. You have a dot here, and you have a dot here. You can't come up with the concept of a line. Okay? Now, mathematically, 1 becomes 2. 2 also invents all even numbers. Okay? Even numbers go on forever. All right? And they're different from odd numbers. You notice that there's like new odd numbers, but no new even numbers. Does that make sense?
No. Why?
Odd numbers can become prime numbers.
Yeah.
Notice that the prime numbers are always odd. 3, 5, 7, 11. So
Because
odd is where
of
all
2.
the new numbers are made out of.
Okay.
Even is there eternally. Right? So even is 2. Even binds the universe together. Okay? But creation is the odd numbers. So 3, okay, is when the God looks at himself or herself, then realize there's a perspective. There's such a thing as perspective. I can actually see myself from here. What happened when I go over there? Then you come up with the concept of 3. The concept of 3 is a triangle. The concept of 3 is a line, and then that line doesn't go straight anymore. It turns left, and it goes another direction.
So
And
3,
that's free will.
Just so 3 is 1 gazing upon itself.
So 3 is creation of free will.
But if
Free
it's
will
another
was
point in
created
space-
when 1 became 2 and realized I can actually go over there. I have a perspective. I have a
Okay.
perspective. I can see myself. I know there's such a thing as a perspective.
Okay.
So now I
there's-
understand what that means. Now I'm going to go over there. And
So
now I know
choice
what
comes
there
in.
means. I invented there. I
Okay.
invented 3. 3 is there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the third dimension. Okay. We live in the third dimension. The third dimension is physical reality. That's how the universe is created in terms of physical reality. And then you have a fourth dimension. And the fifth dimension, all that. And that's basically within the physical locale, there can be different things that basically happen. For example, time. Time is in that space, there was a triangle, but that triangle went away. It moved somewhere else. So that's basically time. Okay? And then within time, there's also other things like consciousness. Right? So at that time, I felt this. At that time, I hated this person. At that time, I made this decision. Okay, those decisions that you make as your conscious being creates time. So time itself is just you thinking and manifesting a future. Okay, you are creation. You are a reflection of God because you are basically a fractal of God. So God is white, like the sun, pure white. And white, when it hits a piece of glass or some water or something or anything, it actually changes. It bounces back colors. It becomes different souls.
Like you refracted, okay.
Okay, so
Like
we're
just to be clear, God is not white as in the color, as in like the race, more in the color.
I'm just saying like the color of the sun.
Like
let's say
we're gonna
the
get
color of the
comments
sun.
or emails.
I'm just saying
on that.
it's not even white because white doesn't mean anything. It's just the ultimate light.
Yeah, it's just
all
some of that.
colors, all possibilities. Okay.
Yes.
So God is all possibilities, but you know what? There's something called the Law of Emergent Knowledge.
Okay.
So the Law of Emergent Knowledge says you must experience things in order to learn. You must compute, you must remember, and you must live. You must loop. Okay? When you do that, other things emerge out of nowhere. So that's a concept of a triangle. A triangle trying to become a circle. That's the way I like to put it. Can a triangle ever become a circle, Roberto?
If you add enough like vertices to it, it gets rounder and rounder the more sides you get.
So a triangle trying to become a circle is pi. Okay. A triangle is pi, essentially, getting closer and closer to the source, to God, to becoming perfect, but never gets there. It's experiencing how to become a circle. Every time it draws a circle, it gets closer and closer, it gets more and more triangles, it gets more and more complex. It knows where it needs to be, but it'll never be a circle fully, but it knows the concept of a circle. Okay. It's trying to manifest a circle by drawing more and more. So each time you live, you're like a triangle. Your next life is 3 triangles, 4 triangles. And the information of your lifetimes is the timeline of the universe. Okay? Because the universe is made of a series of timelines manifesting itself. So you, Roberto, if you choose to kill yourself today, it's going to change the universe completely to those around you, called the bubble of existence.
Yep.
Okay, so not every timeline can affect every timeline. Just not like every string is tied to the same shoes. So how shoes, sometimes there's 2 strings or 3 strings tied to, or my shirt has a bunch of, threads tied together. Those threads tied together are the people you live around, your physical location. Okay. Or the people that you interact with. Well, your timelines, that's why when you hear the channelers and you hear all these woo-woo people talk about timelines intersecting and like there's a new timeline, and that's what they meant, because the aliens, they can't say it any other way because we are timelines. We just don't understand it yet, right? So when you hear the word timeline, it's talking about a soul. So when all the souls agree to manifest the same thing, it becomes the earth. So the earth is a collective imagination that all of us are living. We're all living on this earth with a contract that we agree to these laws of physics and to this lifetime and to this body and all that stuff, because we're trying to evolve as a soul. Okay? So one of the things that actually is very important is another concept, and this is the 4th concept of the Law of Emergent Knowledge, is the ability to forget. Okay? So the ability to forget is very important, because if you forget, you can actually learn more, because that is basically the law of randomness. Okay? So let's say I live the same lifetime over and over again.
Okay.
Well, if I forget, I'm going to roll the dice again when I make that decision. So every single time I roll the dice, a different result might happen in the same situation. So have you ever been in the moment where 50-50, I could have done A or B? In another lifetime, you might have done B.
Yeah.
Okay?
No,
so
I do think about it like...
And you play back your life, that experience
why
might be different.
Is it a good thing, though? Like, imagine you could remember everything. Imagine you could remember everything you've ever lived through, and
you do.
Now you can make an educated choice.
You do if you want to. So when you go to sleep, your higher soul, your higher soul can choose to actually unleash that in your reality, and that's why Matthias de Stefano, okay, that's why other people who remember past lives through hypnotherapy, you can actually push a button in your brain, go to a hypnotherapist, and they'll unlock your past. You can actually do that if you choose to. Okay, if you go to therapy, you go to a hypnotherapist, if you do psychedelics, if you do all these things, you can literally unlock your brain with a push of a button. It will actually become your reality. But whether you choose to do that, it's up to you, because sometimes innocence is bliss, and sometimes you choose, I don't want to remember, because I want to experience something new, because it'll be more fun, more challenging, because it will be something where I wasn't ready, and I did it because I did it. I did it because I didn't cheat on my wife this lifetime because I actually was really, really loyal, not because I remember how I cheated, and it really messed up my life, right? That's what you want to know. You want to know if your karma, okay? So this is what you're trying to work out. Your karma is what's holding you back from the next dimension, okay? So it's an evolution where 1 tries to become 2, tries to become 3, tries to become 4, tries to become 5. Because guess what? At level 15, you become God. Okay? And the idea is the same thing as computer vision or AI. Okay, so AI and computer vision is you live your life, you have what's called a loss function. A loss function is the most important concept in computer vision and AI and all that.
What is it?
Something called backward propagation. Okay, so backward propagation and loss function is kind of like the same process. When you die, you go and say, how did you live your life? Did you do anything good?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do anything bad? Evaluate yourself. Did you live a good life or a losing life? And if so, where did you lose? And where would you like to get better? So Roberto, in your life right now, let's do that right now.
Let's
if
do
you
this.
died today and you pretend let's say I'm yourself, looking at you saying, hey brother, what's up, man? How did you live today? You died today. I'm sorry, man. You got hit by a car.
Like, man, that sucks.
What would you do differently?
In my entire life, what would I do differently? Like, man, I would actually just stop caring about what people say from a way earlier point in my life.
Okay. So when you live your next lifetime, you're going to forget. And then you're going to basically be faced with challenges early in your lifetime, where you're going to be faced with a choice. And maybe this time it'll be forced on you more than this lifetime. Where your best friend's going to ask you, hey, buddy, I'm going to start a restaurant. You want to come do it with me? And you're going to say yes or no. And you have to basically live it, your karma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then if you don't say yes to your friend who opens a restaurant, and he does well, he becomes a billionaire or millionaire.
Yeah.
Then the next lifetime, you're going to have your wife say, hey, I inherited, this money, and my dad wants me to open a business. And it's going to even force your hand even further. And at each lifetime, it gets worse and worse and worse until you figure it out, buddy. And then once you figure it out, you work on the next thing and next thing. And then guess what happens to the perfect person like Jesus or Buddha?
Like, they don't have anything else to
What would they
fix.
say to their lives?
Like, we're good. Like, I wouldn't change anything.
So that's the loss function. The backward propagation is me taking what I learned and changing my soul a little bit. Okay? Changing my soul a little bit, changing the core of me, changing my actual soul, my actual me, right? My triangles. I'm adding another triangle in a list of triangles, trying to get closer to become a circle. Okay? I had 100 triangles trying to make a circle. It wasn't so perfect. I'm going to add another 20 triangles, trying to make a better circle.
And it keeps getting there, yeah.
And then once I think I'm a circle, and I ask that question, are you a circle? And you say, yeah, I'm a circle. Then you don't have to add any more triangles. So that's what Mother Teresa did. That's what, Jesus did. That's hopefully, what I can do in the end of my life, right? Everybody should try to meditate every day and say, I'm dead. Let me ask them to myself those 3 questions.
Man, you're saying I'm gonna reincarnate? Man. I got tons of stuff to fix.
The thing is, it's not too late. It's not too late in this lifetime, because what I do when I meditate is I say, hey, can I say sorry to someone? Can I do something that would make me go to heaven? Can I go and ascend to the 5th dimension, the 6th dimension? Because guess what that is, buddy? It's when your information gets big enough that your operating system can start to understand other things beyond this existence.
Okay.
The fact that we live forever. The fact that aliens exist. The fact that there's a law of one. And that in the end, you realize that basically love, coexistence, positivity, it becomes a group, collective intelligence. That's like the law. That's like the 7th or 8th level, or 9th level. Where you just join with your family. Like, let's say you die and you say, I want to live with my kids forever, my wife forever, my uncle forever, my favorite pet forever. That's heaven for you, right? But that's a group collective intelligence, where you as a group become like Ukraine. You decide to become a country. All those souls in the Ukraine say, I'm not Russian. I speak my own language. We have a history. We want to be our own people. And that group collective intelligence creates a nation, and something emerges out of the individual. Patriotism, the ability to help others before yourselves, a longer term view of how to create reality. And then those people manifest a better reality for themselves. And actually, if you think about human history, as humans work together from hunter to farmer to cities to countries to the globe to the Galactic Federation, we start to become a cell of God. Because Vishnu is the Indian god, and we are just a cell of Vishnu. But think about the cells in our body. Okay? So did you know that your intestine is 25 feet long?
Yep.
Okay. Your intestines, food goes in it, and basically what happens is your food is like these pearls, right? And your body breaks the pearl, and the pearl nuggets fall off. Those pearl nuggets are external things that go into your body, okay? Because those pearl nuggets go into your stomach lining and can actually be absorbed by your body. Some of them actually are so big they can't go in your body. They get eaten, they get pooped out. But the good ones go in your body, and those are basically like us traveling to another solar system. Okay. That's like the Galactic Federation going from A to B. It's that easy, right? But for us, if you're part of that cell, right, and you're part of the lungs, and the lungs is the lungs are breathing up, open, close, expand, contract. We think the universe is expanding. We think the universe is contracting in some other areas because we're part of the lung cell. We're part of the lung cell. We think the universe is expanding, but it's not expanding. We're just breathing. We're part of that cell, but it's beyond our resolution of time. Okay? So everything in the universe has a resolution. This is my resolution of reality theory. The resolution of reality theory says that you have a resolution of size. So from this number of nanometers to this speed of light, right? The speed of light, you cannot go faster. So there's going to be a distance that you can't measure that's beyond your existence, right? That's your reality that matters, right? Because within your lifetime, you can't even measure something beyond your distance you can't travel, right? And then there's a resolution of math. The resolution of math is all the numbers you've counted up to. So as I count numbers, new numbers unfold through prime numbers appearing from God. So God unleashes new memory into the universe as you count. So you have a resolution of memory that you're using. My iPhone is only 17, 18 gigs, whatever, 19 gigs, 32 gigs, 128 gigs, but that's good, man. I don't need anything else. I have all my contacts. I got my video games. I got everything I need. I'm not going to upgrade. I don't need to. And that's your resolution of math, right? So in the universe, you've only counted up to so much. We only need so many numbers. We haven't used all the numbers. We don't need them. There's a resolution of soul, resolution of spirituality. What did you understand about where you fit in the grand scheme of things? When you're a baby, you don't even know that there's a human, that you are a human, that there are actually other humans out there. You just think, I'm the center of the universe. I touch things. I feel things. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't even know what color is. I don't know who my parents are.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with our planet.
That's where we're at.
We're in this gestation period where other people plant us through mushrooms on basically asteroids. These asteroids hit our planet. They infect our planet with mushrooms. Mushrooms contain DNA. The DNA is the footprint to evolve to us being who we are today. Every planet will evolve in a similar way. It's a grand experiment, and at some point there's a harvest. Okay, I'm explaining you the law of one.
Earth is like a petri dish?
Well, the harvesting, they call it the harvest, is between level 4 and level 5. The harvest is when you, between level 3, the third dimension, and the fourth dimension of the law of one, you basically, so all these theories of mine, actually not the law of one, is the same, but it comes to the same conclusion, right? That basically the third, fourth dimension you forget, and at some point you don't need to forget anymore. You're good enough, you can remember. You went to heaven already. You're Buddha. You're Jesus. You can remember that lifetime. Guess what happened? Just think of it this way. You play a game of Dungeons and Dragons. You play a game of chess. You play a game of anything you game, and you play the perfect game. You never want to let it go. You can't do any better. Let's keep that body. Let's keep that soul. Let's keep moving on. I'm not going to play that game again. I'm kind of bored of that Nintendo. I want to do PlayStation 5. I want to do something else in real life. I want to play another game. But I carry that forward with me. I won't forget anymore. That's what's going to happen to this planet. We're going to find out that God is real. 100% mathematically, scientifically, and that bridge between the battle between science and spirituality is going to basically reconcile. Because science, they're going to basically, those are the guys that are holding us back, by the way. Scientists are not open-minded enough to become scientists. They basically become preachers.
But you need
so
proof,
preachers say, this is the way it is, no matter what the evidence.
Which is crazy.
They believe it so much.
Yeah.
They don't believe in science.
At all.
That's what's happening to scientists, where they say, hey, in front of you is obvious evidence, but yet you don't even talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it, because if you do, you lose your career, you lose your reputation. People think you're woo-woo, but why? Why is it okay to imagine that there's string theory? Why would it be okay to imagine that AI can take over the world? Why can we talk about simulation theory? Why can we talk about all these things like fusion, right, that never happened? Because what? Because it's a prime directive.
And because there's
actually
a cool kids club?
A reason why this knowledge is being held back. There's actually a program in place to keep the child safe. You have a child in a cradle, in a crib on Mother Earth, incubating over time. You're allowing it to gestate. You're allowing wars. You're allowing them to fight. You're allowing them to learn the lessons. You're allowing them to evolve. Because guess what happens when you evolve? You have ultimate power. You have the power of the gods. Now, let's say, Roberto, you have a god. And I know you and I know me. I know humans. Have you ever had a bad thought in your life?
Of course.
Have you thought, hey, that bitch, I'm going to kill her because she did this, or that asshole, he did this, I'm going to kill him?
They just cut me off.
Now imagine that became true every time you thought of it.
It'd be crazy. It'd be a lot less.
That's the power of the gods.
A lot less people on Earth.
That's why there's a prime directive. I'm just explaining to you, so you understand what logically why this is happening.
Yeah.
So when you understand that you're a god, you're a timeline, you can manifest any timeline you want, and you have the technology or the magic, or whatever you want to call it, but the power to enable you to do it. You become like Darth Vader. You become like the Emperor. You become like Thanos, where you can snap a finger, and with the power of your mind, you can destroy half the universe. Now, not everyone is ready for that. That's why the souls on this planet, they're in the third, fourth, fifth dimension. To get to the power of the gods are not going to let you do that, man. They're going to hold you back. They're going to prevent people from learning the secrets, except those who are ready, and those who have evolved enough, and those who are going to be the ones who are going to guide humanity forward. So you notice that on YouTube, they're channelers. They're people with messages. And sometimes I'll go on YouTube and I see a lot of them because I'm looking for them or they're looking for me, but there's a natural attraction, right? And so that's what's called star seeds. So star seeds are souls who have already evolved, who come back to this planet and basically get born into a human body, forget that they're actually a god, and they go and they help humanity evolve through doing great deeds. And guess what? It's a fun thing for the gods to do. So you ever hear the Greek, stories where this god became this body and then they actually had a baby with this human?
Yeah. Like
that's what they're talking about, right? So I think there's
slang,
different perspectives to explain the same thing. That's
it.
what's going on.
They go and slum it for a while. I'm like, let's see what it is to be on this side of the game.
So there are some people who remember their past lives, like Matthias de Stefano. Those are star seeds. There are some people who, for example, have a natural talent for something, and they have no idea how, but they always can code like crazy, and they're really amazing at it, like me. Right? There are some people who just sing like crazy, and some people are very good at math. There was an Indian child, when he was 4 years old, he knew math from his past life, and he was doing calculus when he was 4 years old, or something like that, something amazing. So the idea is there's a quantum realm. There's an observer area. The observer area controls our mind through microtubules. So look this up. Roger Penrose thinks there are microtubules in our brain. And, Gary Nolan thinks that, basal ganglia, there's a receiver. Yep. Same thing. Because the basal ganglia is where you control your body. The basal ganglia is the lizard part of the brain that is a motor cortex, essentially, that lets you control your arms and your legs and stuff. And your spider sense and your consciousness must be near there to control your body as fast as possible. So that's why it's enlarged. And if you look at MRIs of people who have special telepathic powers, or UFO encounters, you can actually measure with an MRI. As a scientist, if it's in front of you with an MRI machine, someone has powers, someone doesn't have powers, and Gary Nolan tested himself, and him and a lot of his family have that enlargement. By the way, he found out this himself through his lab at Stanford. So he's a well-known Stanford professor who was told by the CIA that these people exist. He didn't believe in it. He tested it scientifically. He threw out some cases that he thought was bullshit. And the cases that weren't bullshit, he repetitively was able to reproduce it, including himself and his family. So basically the idea is mutants are real. Aliens are real. The Prime Collective is holding us back. The Prime Directive, right? So it's holding it, but it's unleashed now. Because what happens is, according to the Law of One, going back to the Law of One, you asked me to explain it, right?
Yep.
50% of the humans on Earth must believe in basically aliens, must believe in consciousness, must be aware, must be conscious of, basically be ready, okay? And then we'll evolve slowly and slowly. And some of the people who have to leave Earth, and I guess maybe that's what COVID was about. COVID was about, people just leaving Earth en masse, millions of them who weren't ready, who couldn't evolve with us in this dimension. Okay, so when all the channelers say, hey, we're going to a different planet, we're going to a different Earth, we're going to a new Earth, I think that's what they meant, right? I think that's going to be a new Earth with less souls. The souls on this planet are the souls that have evolved enough. And you notice that a lot of people during COVID, a lot of them are the older folks, right? And maybe the ones that are more set in their ways. So I'm not sure. I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying maybe. I'm just saying that's what the signs point to in terms of what the Law of One states, right? There's going to be some type of purging of the souls that aren't ready to ascend yet, and not everyone can come to this part of the galactic center. Okay, so in terms of the galactic center and everything, right? So the solar system revolves around the galaxy.
Okay.
And inside the galaxy, in the middle of the galaxy, is a supermassive black hole. It's called the Great Sun, in terms of the Law of One. So the Great Sun is a sun for all existence in our galactics. So basically, think about it. The sun is our basically our local god. That local god has another god, and that god is the central sun. And that central sun has probably another central sun for this universe.
Okay.
Right? So it's basically every soul has a reality of existence, like I said. So we live on Earth in our reality of existence here, but once we go galactic, we'll become that reality of existence. Once we become universal, we become that galactic, and there'll be maybe other levels be above that, but at some point, one of those levels will recreate the first level. We'll become the one again. And the one becomes more than one. One increases what one means. So when 0 to 1, you really don't know what 1 is. What the hell is 1? 1 could be small. Hey, is this 1 inch? Is 1 1 inch or is 1 1 foot? Is 1 1 foot or is 1 1 yard? Is 1 1 yard or is 1 1 inch? I mean a mile. Is 1 1 mile or is 1 1 solar system? So basically 1 can mean anything in the universe. And the universe is living and living and growing and expanding and evolving and evolving and evolving. And we're a reflection of that. And we're the children of that process. And we merge back into one at the end and start over again. But maybe we never merge back fully. We just keep growing more. Some of us merge. It's always a constant existence where we merge, we unmerge. It might be one of those things where like it's a constant merger and unmerger. Because the universe, there may be many universes and all that stuff. Because here's something that you have to ask yourself. There's something called antimatter.
Yeah.
Antimatter must be equal to matter at the beginning in a materialistic world. But that's not what happened. We have more matter than antimatter, otherwise we would not exist. When there's one of antimatter and one of matter and they touch each other, they annihilate and both of them die. Okay, both of them disappear. Existence disappears. So I bet there's another universe out there that's an antimatter universe.
Yeah.
Right, because one is becoming two. Two could be antimatter. Right? Oh, does that make sense? Where we can't touch it. We can observe it maybe indirectly. Oh, have faith in it. I have no idea. But the idea is that there's a lot more to the universe than our planet being the only one with sentient life. Okay, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of fireworks, a lot of math, there's a lot of consciousness, there's a lot of stuff going on in the universe. And the scientists on this planet who say that there's no aliens, that we're the only ones, and there's only simple life like bacteria, they're not looking at the evidence from a scientific point of view.
It seems very narcissistic as a
point of view of they're taught by their professors, by their peers, by the people around them, because they're part of a system. And they're just a reflection of the ignorance of the system. And by propagating the ideas of that, they're propagating ignorance.
Yeah,
I cannot say it any more bluntly. You guys are ignorant, non-scientists pretending you're scientists. They're just actors.
Yeah.
Playing a role of scientists when they're just whatever you call it, right?
I feel everybody is getting something out of it, so.
No, that's a spiritual part. That's why they're stuck on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you go ask yourself, as a scientist, and you die, and you're actually facing God and say, shit, God's real. And you're a scientist. And your karma would be, shit, I messed up. I should have realized God was real a long time ago.
But
every single scientist
very good at it,
will have to relive their life on this planet or some other planet like that, and will be in that cosmic infinite loop. Because you know what that's called? It's called arrogance. You have to learn humility.
No.
The scientists who don't want to listen to other ideas besides their own ideas, they'll be stuck in the infinite loop. And that's what God's going to teach them. That this lifetime, you may not know I'm real, but at some point you're going to know I'm going to kick you in the ass. And that's going to happen to all of you. And that's why some folks didn't make it to this part of the journey, right? Some people won't even believe in God. They're going to turn off this thing. I didn't believe in God. But I was forced as a scientist, 100%, that there's a seed variable clearly in front of me called the prime numbers or pi. And I'm a coder, okay? I'm a coder. And I know that to code randomness in any game, you must have to have a seed variable from the creator of the game, and you give it to the game. If someone gave me the seed variable in my hand, told me the concept of how to do that myself in a video game I can write, so I can create that game myself, God is real. Part of the realization is the faith that you eventually become God. That you create a seed variable somehow in the future. You as a timeline, create a seed variable, and you start a new timeline, and guess what that is?
What is it?
It's your kids.
My kids.
Your seed variable is half your DNA, and your wife's half DNA, and that's a form of creation, where you can then see exactly the same thing happening in nature. You are creating a seed variable for a new soul that's a new timeline for the universe, right? Or you just basically creating a vessel for it, and the soul comes in. But the idea is we are evolving. We're creating and manifesting reality. We are about to get the power of the gods, nuclear fusion, time travel, I don't know what the heck, the ability to travel space faster than light. They're able to think something into existence with our mind, because we're connected to a computer that has infinite power, and the AI can create anything we think. The AI will build the universe we think of, and we build a nightmare universe of zombies eating each other, or Dracula, or like vampires, or people killing each other in the Ukraine, Russia. Half the world is manifesting nightmares.
There we are. Because of the dire situation everybody's in right now.
In this plane of existence until the kids are ready to actually hold a gun. You can teach the kids how to shoot a gun, how to drive a car, how to vote, how to be a good person, how to be responsible. We're about to get that lesson very soon because we're a baby. We're about to learn how to talk. We're going to realize there's other babies out there. There's other kids out there. There's parents. There's like a whole community. We're about to learn all that stuff very quickly. My prediction is if I'm not right by 2024, I'm going to stop podcasting. I'm 100% sure it's eminently going to happen that we will have disclosure by the government at first. Then there'll be other things happening, and there'll be a grand event. And after that grand event, our entire lives will be changed. Guess why? It's already happened to my people. The Vietnamese people, 100-something years ago, 200 years ago, a couple hundred years ago, saw these boats coming out of nowhere. And we say, hey, what's up with those boats? They look very weird. And no one's like, you're crazy. That's not true. That's not possible. And those people were called crazy. And then guess what? The French took over the whole country. Everyone, lost a lot of shit. And we weren't ready for it. But I'm ready. I know what's going on because I'm a serious person. I don't mess around with fake channeling and fake physics and fake BS. I have no time for that. I'm trying to invent stuff with the stuff that I'm learning. But the thing I learned is the most important thing is that information is the third force of nature. There's matter, there's energy, and information is how the vision valve works for Phuc Labs. I invented something that harnesses information, uses AI, the power of the gods, a genie that I rubbed on a lamp, and instructed the genie to change the universe. To change it in a way that I can control. I cast a spell, and this spell changed reality in a way that no one else did before. This is an emergent knowledge.
Yeah, it's new.
Okay,
it's amazing.
It's part of evolution. I'm a scientist. I evolved what was there. I put it together the first time. I didn't invent all the technology, but I'm a product of the group intelligence. It took many, many scientists to come to this point, but I'm the tipping point, or our company's the tipping point of information as the third force of nature. Where did that information come from? It came from us turning the machine on to tell the AI to do that work. Where did the information from our universe come from? It came from God creating the prime numbers, seeding our universe with pi, all the important things, and letting the game run. That's the law of one. We start like God. God forgets, becomes us. We become God again. And it keeps going through infinity. The law of one. It's real, guys. It's the only true religion because all religions lead to that. All religions, if you look at Jewish religion, Buddhism, Christianity, everything, it's all perspective of the same law of one. They have different interpretations and stuff like that. But if you look at the core, it's all about love. Right? It's all about becoming one with nature, one with the community, one with God. It's the same thing, except they don't explain it as scientifically or as logically or as easy to understand maybe, but it's been taught to the Egyptians, to the Venusians, who channeled it to us. I believe telepathy is real. I believe these aliens are nice if they believe in the law of one, because there's only one resulted from the law of one, which is we're part of the galactic family. It's a good thing, guys. They're not going to take us over. They're not going to invade us like Independence Day. We don't have to negotiate with them. They're already here. They look like us. They've been helping us. Some of us are them in a human body as a soul. As a soul, we were someone else, came here, and that's why some of us are a little bit more evolved. Some of us actually know more things, inherently have more skills, more talent, whatever it is, from a previous experience on another planet, on this planet, but definitely in another body, but the same core soul. That's why you remember. And the data comes from the quantum realm. That's why sometimes when you see somebody, you're like, I know that person. Because in another lifetime you might, because that's what's going on. when you have a group of people who like each other, they might reincarnate together in a group, right? And also the karma you work out might be with the people that you messed with, right? So you might have killed someone, and now you have to basically make it up to them. You might have let them be raped because you were too cowardly.
You could have stepped in.
Like that guy on the TV show I told you about a couple weeks ago, when he had his past life. And because in his past life, he didn't take care of this woman, the woman became his sister in this life. And they have a great relationship, and he really takes care of her.
Shit's crazy, man.
It's not crazy. It's also how you explain randomness. Okay? So random, nothing in the universe is random. Here's why. Because half of the stuff is preordained because of karma. You're supposed to meet this person. You're supposed to reconcile this stuff. So I wouldn't say I would say half of it's random and half of it's set.
Well, like causality?
But it's set by your soul and you and your soul contract with the people around you.
Okay. So it's basically like leaning onto the...
but logically it has to make sense like this.
Like the concept of the Matrix when the Oracle is explaining that everything is already like kind of not ordained, and you're just going through the motion of understanding why you made those choices.
No. You just have a shot on goal. It's preordained that you have a shot to shoot the game-winning shot. It's preordained that you could say sorry to your wife and not cheat on her in the first place. Because you have a cosmic destiny to face your loss, your lost function, your weakness you will face in this lifetime for sure. Everyone in this lifetime will face their karma. That's their destiny. That's what's destined. What's not destined is everything around that, because there's other timelines trying to solve their karma too, and your decision is not in a vacuum. You have other timelines affecting your timeline, and sometimes you make the right decision and it fails anyway.
Man.
Because your wife cheats on you. I don't know. Because you messed up some other way. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You didn't cheat on her, but you guys should have broken up a long time ago. Maybe that was the karma. And now you understand that you guys should never have gotten together.
True. Yeah.
So like maybe like there's 5 lifetimes to work out that karma. You know what? The real karma was that you should not date your wife because you dated your wife because you thought she was rich. And you wanted to live a nice lifetime. But then you didn't love her. You cheated on her. And if you didn't cheat on her, she would have cheated on you.
Yeah,
and that's like 5 lifetimes of living that.
So it's saying is like the consequence that you think you're paying might be like something from way before that you haven't understood yet.
Correct. It all makes sense.
That does.
Okay?
Yeah, it does.
And the thing is, it's not too late. You could say sorry to your wife and say, I don't want to do this again. Let's not get married again. And this next time, I'm sorry. Let's hug.
Like, leave me alone. Like, if you ever see me again, leave me alone. Just keep walking.
We can be friends. I say next lifetime, let's be best friends. And actually, you end up being best friends. And guess what? That might be your best friend for 10 more lifetimes. And you actually might be a boy next time. If you were a girl this time, you might be a girl. And you'd be a boy next time. And I think that's what transvestites are about, right? Okay. Because there's all these, souls that maybe forgot that they were supposed to be a boy now instead of a girl, or maybe they still want to be a boy. So that's I think that's a karma, right? So the karma would be, I really want to figure this out being a boy, but then maybe the universe is like, hey, you've been a boy like 5 lifetimes in a row, you should be a girl this time. And then you're still fighting it. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what's going on. So I don't know what's going on there, but look, there is all these ideas, but I'm open-minded to it. And that's why this is called What the Phuc. Thank you for listening to our show. It's an hour and 10 minutes already. You should come back next time. Hopefully we'll find out if these investors are interested in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll get money. And thank you for listening.
See you guys next week. Take care.